racism is baked into our collective identity. It's wild to say that like one hate crime is gonna spark the fucking civil war. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, dude. Yeah, Americans literally were gonna fucking get up in arms when, like, you know, like that's like hate crimes happen all the time. I feel like that's a bit of a chud-like take there.
The most highly decorated police officer in the city addressed the nation in one of the most powerful and resonating speeches.
He didn't say Civil War, did he? No, they're like this notion that like this was going to spark up like racial tensions when racial tensions were already at an all-time high. It's crazy.
Recent times.
I come to you not only as the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, but also as a black man who spent his entire life living in the city of Chicago. I know the racial divide that exists here. I know how hard it's been for our city and our nation to come together. And I also know the disparities, and I know the history. This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol?
You know what I just realized? Maybe this is insensitive. Maybe people get mad at me for this, but like, how come it's always white people that think like there is going to be a like race-related war? Like it's always white people that are like, oh, race riots, it's gonna happen, brother, it's coming. Or fucking civil war, it's gonna happen again, it's gonna happen again. It's like, I wonder if it's because like for black people, like they understand that systemic racism is a part of their everyday existence. And they like try to learn to manage it and live with it. Whereas for like white people, it's like the mere mention of racism's existence is enough to be like, oh, that's it. It's happening. You know what I mean? Because I don't fucking, what is this? You're going to love the comments on your shampoo LSF post. As soon as someone said that, I of course went to LSF to see what the fuck you were talking about. And there is a post on LSF with me talking about stealing from Walgreens. So I'm sure everyone's going to be very upset with that. And it's not white people either. Yes, it's not all white people either. It's like reactionaries who fucking feel this way all the time. Race riots are going to happen, brother. It's always like that. And then they start like associating random things with race riots as well. Like every time there's like a BLM protest, there's a race riot, civil war, brother. You know what I mean? You think the top of the hour ad break is a race riot? I'm sorry, you guys have been throwing tomatoes the entire time, okay? I don't know. I can't do that. When you preemptively throw tomatoes at me, I can't do it. I can't fucking segue, dude. God damn it, you're ruining me. You are hindering my ability to develop appropriate segues. To sneak a fucking ad break in, dude. Fuck. Top of the hour, every hour, it's time for a 6-second ad break. Okay. Fuck. You'd like to no longer see said ads. All you need to do is subscribe, okay? You do it for $5 or you can subscribe for free. With fucking Twitch Prime. Dang it. Here's the ad break now. Fuck it. Here's for the next hour and the next one too. I hope you realize Dave Rubin's comedy is better than your ad segues. That's a bannable offense. That is so you're so incorrect that like
to further his own public profile. How can an individual who's been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in this city in the face by making these false claims? Bogus police reports cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city. Chicago hosts one of the largest pride parades in the world, and we're proud of that as a police department and also as a city.
Solved.
We do not, nor will we ever tolerate hate in our city, whether that hate is based on an individual's sexual orientation, race, or anything else. So I'm offended by what's happened, and I'm also angry. I love the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department, warts and all. But this publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve. You know, as I look out into the crowd, I just wish that the families of gun violence in this city got this much attention, because that's who really deserves the amount of attention that we're giving to this particular incident.
This is a Fox News alert. Prosecutors, we have just learned, dropping all charges against actor Jussie Smollett.
Chicago police and the mayor remain outraged after prosecutors abruptly dropped all charges against Jussie Smollett. The Empire actor was charged last month with 16 felony counts after allegedly staging a hate crime attack against himself. But all those charges have been dropped. Smollett maintains that he was a victim.
Can you explain how somebody can stage a fake race hate homophobic attack on themselves, send themselves race hate letters, and have the prosecutor believe
it's really fucked up? It's really fucked up. Also, having said that, though, I do find it ironic that most conservatives get more upset about someone who like faked a hate crime rather than like, actual hate crimes that occur. It's very strange. I wonder what the reason for that is. Which, by the way, I mean, I think this is incredibly fucked up. Like, staging a hate crime on yourself is so fucking disrespectful. It's so fucked up. He should have seen some punishment for it, straight up. But it is wild that, like, conservatives get more mad about, a faking of a hate crime as though they, like, legitimately care.
they're guilty and walk away.
Yeah, Piers, there's a lot of unanswered questions with respect to this case.
This is an unbelievable, not just whitewash of justice, this is a person now who's been let off scot-free with no sense of accountability of the moral and ethical wrong of his actions. From top to bottom, not only besmirching the name of the city, but then I cannot stress that in a time when you have people bringing a moral equivalency in Virginia between bigots and those fighting bigotry, then you have a person using hate crime laws that are on the books to protect people who are minorities from violence, to then turn around and use those laws to advance your career and your financial reward.
I'll allow you to hear from him briefly.
By the way, I don't even think that it's like fucked up to criticize him for it. Just don't misunderstand my point. I mean, these guys are demons. Like, Rahm Emanuel is fucking awful. Like, he's a horrible person. Look, I think that the Chicago Police Department is fucking horrible. Rahm Emanuel is fucking horrible. Most of the people that are, like, functionally criticizing Jussie Smollett leading up to that point, like the Hodge twins, they're horrible. They're correct in this circumstance, but they're fucking horrible people across the board. The most important reason why I get upset about Jussie Smollett is because, like, he gives ammo. Like, he delegitimizes, like, real hate crimes that are occurring, systemic racism, and also on top of that, like, he gives ammo to some of the worst people on the fucking planet. Okay? Just some of the worst people in America. And he's giving them ammo to fucking shit on them and shit on other instances where the hate crime might be real or is real, right? It's really fucked up. So I don't really have a problem with people fucking shitting on him, though. I mean, he's terrible. I've shit on him, too.
and then we're gone.
Hey everybody, I just made a couple notes. First of all, I want to thank my family, my friends, the incredible people of Chicago and all over the country and the world who have prayed for me, who have supported me, who've shown me so much love. No one will ever know how much that has meant to me, and I will forever be grateful. I want you to know that not for a moment was it in vain. I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
What? What the fuck?
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly one of the worst of my entire life. But I am a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't.
His eyes tell us everything we need to know. Insidious, resentment, guile, and fear. This was his chance at redemption, his point of absolution. Coming clean at this very moment would have taken courage and integrity, two virtues that anyone can respect, and would have helped him tremendously in regard to public opinion. It wouldn't have wiped the slate clean, but it would have no doubt relieved a considerable amount of scrutiny, and quite possibly saved his career. Instead, he doubled down on his deceit and trickery, while even using his own mother as a source of credibility. Smollett sought to tear open the racial rift in America. He fabricated a lie in an attempt to turn people against each other for his own benefit. The punishment for deceiving the nation and creating hate and hysteria among the people should be far more severe than a few hours of community service and a relatively small bond. But although Smollett's actions are appalling, the case shouldn't scare Americans too greatly. He was clearly under the false impression that solely due to the color of his skin, he could assemble and stimulate an entire community through the concept of injustice. He failed to realize that the vast majority of his targeted demographic won't resonate with the son of a multimillionaire who was reared and pampered by the culture of Hollywood and hadn't done a hard day's work in his life. It's the human qualities of resolve and fortitude that resonate.
God damn, dude, this case is like, this is a bit of a mask off. What the fuck? I mean, there's truth to what he's saying as far as like him being pampered and coming from like a very privileged background. But it's still the same reason all the chuds were so up in arms about false accusations or Me Too. I feel like this guy has a personal vendetta against this dude. Damn.
Rather than the pigmentation of someone's skin. Jussie was clearly unaware that racial division is not as prominent nor powerful as human connection.
What?
What the hell was he thinking? From now on...
Wait, is the rest of this just like memes?
I ain't never gonna know you're Jesse from now on. You don't even get the you no more.
It's hurting you personally, I see. I mean, it's a little weird. Like, the narrator is just like...
That you was respect. You ain't getting no respect from me.
I've never seen, like, an entire compilation of memes about something like this on a JCS video. It's crazy.
You can't hide, you can't run.
Remember to...
He got indicted for false police reports again last year. I mean, I think he should be punished for it, straight up. You know? I don't want to look at the memes. I don't really care. I do want to, however, watch The Coldest Case Ever Solved.
When freeloading just isn't hitting the spot anymore, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Patreon. Benefits include early access to new videos, plus exclusive bonuses to scratch that itch while you're waiting for the next big drop. Satisfying.
The rest of those, the rest of that video is just memes about him. So I don't want to look at that. It's not interesting to me at all. Makes sense not to put memes on the ones where people are killed or seriously hurt. No, I understand. Drama, not real.
Connor eats pan.
My man, dude. Hey, that's what you get, Connor. Get fucked, Zoomer.
What?
That's boomer power right there.
What? Boomer power?
That's fucking boomer power, baby. Let's go.
What the fuck?
Our winner tonight.
Dude, we're starting
Connor
drama, man. This is bullshit, man. You fucking face me in Mario Party Superstars, Hassan, alright? 1v1 versus mini games only. First to 5, $1,000. Alright? $1,000.
I mean, he'll win.
The pre-show is me racing Keemstar in the 100-meter dash, alright?
Okay, if you can get Keemstar to agree to that, I'm down. Wait, is there a reason why you haven't watched the Andy S one or the Andy B one? That's the last video we haven't watched. This is the only video we haven't watched from this channel. But from what I understand, there's like a lot of blood in it and gore in it, and that's why I didn't watch it. That's why I didn't watch that one. It's in context, dude. Oh shit. Oh, wait. Is it in context, chatter? Oh, that's really cool. Oh, if blood is in context, I guess Twitch no longer bans you, even though they did ban me in the past for it. So, I guess, thanks, man. That's really cool of you to chime in with that take. You know, considering I've been banned in the past, literally for that, let's not go there, I think. No, we watched the Prince Andrew one already. It was really good. It was one of the best ones. I watched the listed ones. Yes. Okay, I want to watch. I want to watch the coldest case ever solved, but I'm a little worried that this might have TOS in it.
While there are an array of qualities that may bring any crime or criminal into the public spotlight, there are very few things more prone to capture the public's imagination than a cold case. You might want to ascribe something noble to the attraction that many people seem to have with real-life murder mysteries. A yearning to see victims' lives honored and perpetrators brought to justice, for instance. But a more realistic, if not somewhat cynical explanation is that people just really love to know how a story ends. And when they're deprived of that, it drives them crazy. Today's story was one without an ending for the longest time, so long that when it was finally resolved in 2012, it was labeled in the press as the oldest solved cold case in American history. It starts on a snowy December evening in 1957 in the small town of Sycamore, Illinois, when a little girl named Maria Ridolph is let out to play with her friend Kathy Sigmund. The girls are playing on the street near Maria's house when around 6:30 p.m. they are approached by a young man wearing a colourful sweater. He was about average height, had blonde hair, a gap in his teeth, and went by the name Johnny. After introducing himself, Johnny asked if the girls liked dolls and piggyback rides. All of this is based off of Kathy Sigmund's account. She ran into her house to grab mittens while Johnny was giving Maria a piggyback ride. And that was the last time that anyone saw Maria Ridolph alive. The abduction of Maria Ridolph devastated the town of Sycamore and gained national attention.
Boys, I saw that Israel is bombing Gaza again. What do you want me to do about it? I will cover it tomorrow. There is nothing I can do right now about it. Okay? I'm going to wait until there's more developments, and then I will talk about it. I will cover it. But there's nothing I can do currently. I don't know what you like. Why you keep posting it in the chat and being like, dude, like talk about this right now. Okay, it would be a violation of the ceasefire that was not long lived. Okay, but I need more information. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's keep going.
Attention, to the point that even FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was asking for personal daily updates on the 7-year-old's disappearance. But in spite of an intense search and investigative effort, it seemed as if Maria Ridolph and the nefarious young man who called himself Johnny had disappeared into thin air. Until about 5 months later, on April 26, 1958, when a couple that were hunting for mushrooms in a wooded area over 100 miles from Sycamore stumbled across a small, decomposed body, a body that would soon be confirmed as that of Maria Ridolph. The worst was now confirmed, and while losing a child in such a horrific manner could be said to be the worst thing a parent could possibly imagine going through, the one thing that could make such an ordeal even more tormenting still is having to live with the knowledge that the monster responsible for taking your baby's life and innocence is still out there. That is a burden that the parents of Maria Ridolph would take to their graves, as the authorities of the time and in the decades that followed would fail to apprehend the man who had taken their daughter. But that wasn't for a lack of trying. As stated, the investigation was intense and bolstered further by nationwide intrigue. In the days following her abduction, the police and FBI investigated hundreds of potential suspects, all of whom were cleared. One door they knocked on during that period was the Tessier residence on 227 Centre Cross Street, only a few doors down from where Maria was taken. The person of interest in the Tessier family certainly seemed to fit the bill. 18-year-old John Tessier, known to friends as Johnny, stood at 5 foot 11 inches tall, had blonde hair, and even a gap in his front teeth. But supposedly, logistics did not allow him to be the culprit. According to John Tessier's sisters, when police questioned his mother Eileen, she assured them that John was home all night. Besides that, the boy had no sort of history that would seem to be in line with that of a child abductor, and he was well known in the neighborhood where the episode had taken place. FBI agents took John Tessier off their suspect list after he passed a lie detector on the matter on December 10th. The very next day, he left home to join the military. And that was the last time that John Tessier's name was ever really spoken in the same breath as Maria Ridolph's. That is until 36 years later, in 1994, when Eileen Tessier was lying on her deathbed. Eileen called out to her daughter and John Tessier's half-sister, Janet. According to Janet Tessier, Eileen confided in her the following words. "Those 2 little girls and the one that disappeared. John did it. John did it. And you have to tell someone." And Janet did tell someone, yet it would still be a long time before the case was actually reopened. In the years that followed, Janet Tessier made numerous attempts to bring her mother's words to the attention of someone that might have the power to do something, but every time she was dismissed. This was in spite of the fact that she had more to offer than just the words of an elderly woman days from death's door. Though Janet was not old enough at the time of Maria's abduction to remember the event in her adult years, John's other 2 half-sisters, Jean and Catherine, were. They remembered hearing their mother tell the police that John was home all night, and the reason they remembered it so vividly was because they knew at the time it wasn't true. Truth be told, they had never been able to shake a suspicion that John was responsible, and their mother's dying words confirmed what had nagged at them for all those years.
Okay, cold case solved, I guess. I mean, I thought there was going to be more to this than, you know. Kind of wild that the fucking parents, like, hid this shit. What's the next 58 minutes, dude? That's... This was, when they said this is the longest cold case, like, I literally thought, like, you know, that this is going to be, Okay, we'll watch it. Well, why I'm
But when
watching?
Janet contacted Sycamore police several times over a number of years by her account, the answer was always the same. John Tessier had been investigated and cleared at the time. The alleged words of a dying woman were not enough to bring charges, and the 36-year-old memories of her two daughters didn't do much to improve things. The Ridolph case remained as cold as could be. But finally, on September 11th of 2008, Janet Tessier sent an email to Illinois State Police, and for whatever reason, this time, something about what she was saying resonated with someone on the receiving end. That person was State Police Commander Tony Rapaz. He decided there was enough to her story to put two-star investigators, Larry Cott and Brian Hanley, on the case. And they uncovered quite a bit about John Tessier's past to suggest that this well could be a strong lead after all. First of all, he fit the bill of a child abductor much more clearly than when authorities first glanced at him when he was only 18 years old. His sister Jean alleged that he had molested her and other girls in the neighborhood when she was growing up. And Jean Tessier was not the only person investigators spoke to that could attest to John having sexual interest in young girls, including those in his own family. When they spoke to one of his ex-wives, Denise Trexler, she told them that she had discovered a naked photo of his 12-year-old daughter from another marriage taped to the bottom of a drawer in their house. The girl's name was Christine Marie Tessier. At the age of 34, she went missing before showing up dead about a month later, next to a drainage ditch on a local golf course. She was apparently last seen with her boyfriend, but no one has ever been charged with her murder. Investigators also came across a woman named Pamela Long, who had a particularly striking story to tell, given the circumstances of Maria's disappearance. Pamela grew up in the same neighborhood, and when she was around Maria's age, an older boy offered her a piggyback ride, which she accepted. Pamela's father, who was nearby, saw what was going on and immediately deemed it to be completely inappropriate. He ran over, pulled Pamela off of the boy's back, and strongly warned the teen not to approach his daughter again. The boy was known to the rest of the neighborhood to be strange, and the boy was John Tessier. There was no doubt about it. John Tessier had changed his name in the early 90s to Jack McCullough, taking his mother's maiden name and simply preferring Jack, and he now lived in Seattle, Washington. On June 29th of 2011, based on the discoveries we've just been over and more that we'll get into shortly, McCullough was brought in to Seattle Police Headquarters for questioning in relation to the disappearance of Maria Ridolph.
We've not been formally introduced. I'm Dave Zalaski. Dave, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Brian. Brian Handel. Nice to meet you. Brian, I'm an investigator, and Brian's with Illinois State Police. And with who? Illinois State Police. Really? Yeah. And what you probably remember a long time ago, back 50 years ago, a young girl was abducted. I called that in. I called the FBI about that. Okay. Back in December 3rd, 1957. Maria, exactly. Yes. And we've been going through and doing some new interviewing and new investigations regarding that. Yeah, I'd be glad to help with that.
And you've been divorced 3 times?
You're investigating the child, right? You're not investigating me.
Right. This is a personal history form. All right. We fill this out for everybody. Right. Our command wants us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just do what I'm told, you know?
You know why I said you weren't from here? Why is that? You got a tan. Oh, yeah. And there's a joke. What do you call somebody in Seattle with a tan? Stranger.
One interesting quality of Jack McCullough's interrogation is that he will veer back and forth between completely cooperative and hostile or borderline hostile repeatedly. For what it's worth, he was brought into the room in cuffs, so he is likely not in two minds about whether or not he is under suspicion.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free of cost before questioning if you wish. And you understand that.
That's all good advice. I'm on your side on this. Okay. I'm trying to help you.
Right. I mean, like I said,
Yeah, right.
Gotta follow the boss's rules. You know?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Because if the forms ain't filled out.
Yeah.
Okay, when are you going to get to the good part now?
We are done with my part.
I had a dream, and then it reminded me of a conversation I had as a kid. There's a little grade school that's only a block away from my home in Sycamore, which is 227. Oh, you want to write that down? The address in Sycamore?
Okay.
227 Center Cross Street. I was talking to a kid, and he said, "You see that guy over there?" I was probably 17, 18, 17. Anyway, and he said, "Stay away from that kid. He wants to talk about sex." Okay, so this kid. Now I'm going to have to reach back and remember his name. I think I wrote it to the FBI. But it bothered me enough where I called up, and he lived with two boys named Davies. Don Davies is one of them, and I don't remember the other one. But he was a kid they allowed to stay with them. He didn't have a home in Sycamore.
So he's like a foster kid kind of a thing?
And on the same block as Maria lived.
It can't be said for sure whether or not McCullough's story of tipping the FBI off to a boy who was said to like talking about sex and lived on the same block as Maria some 50-odd years after the fact when the memory miraculously came back to him in a dream is true, but no records from the FBI confirming this communication have ever come to light. The investigators continue to question McCullough about his family background and then bring him back to the day of December 3rd, 1957.
Now, I want to go back to and this to me is kind of a thing, it's kind of like, we all remember where we were when President Kennedy was shot or 9/11 happened. And this is kind of the 9/11 for Sycamore. I mean, anybody who we've talked to who's...
You're going to like this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So tell me kind of what you remember.
Okay, there is entirely too many references to fucking 9/11 for my taste on this video. That's one. Number two, how fucking cocky can you be when you're like literally talking to investigators on a cold case on you? He's like, yo, write that down. This is called the write that down technique. Like, after watching so many of these videos, I've literally never seen someone that cocky, dude. Hey, write that down, homie. You getting all this? I'm putting it down for you. That's crazy. Okay? Yeah, right. Ayo, Charles, write that shit down. That's what he said.
Remember about that.
The day Maria was kidnapped, I was in the induction center in Chicago, joining the Air Force. I spent the entire day there, and they have a record of it minute by minute. I was really pissed. The FBI talked to me back then as a suspect, and they even interrogated me, and is because the suspect that they think took Maria had a green coat, and I had a favorite green jacket at the time. So, I'm sure they asked the neighbors, anybody with a green jacket? And yeah, Jack's got one.
So so how did you wind up at the induction center?
I don't know how I got there. I may have taken the train, but I was there most of the day, and and you can check with the FBI because they gave me a lie detector test, and. I was disappointed in them, really, really disappointed, because I had an ironclad alibi of where I was. And they didn't even check. Didn't even make a phone call. I was very disappointed.
Well, let's go back and kind of walk me through, because they said you let's go to the day before, because you were going downtown or something. Tell me as much as you can remember about, in as much detail as you can remember.
Oh, you mean about downtown Chicago?
Yeah. How did you get downtown?
See, I don't remember. I mean, we're talking about many years ago. I know no family member was with me, so I don't think anybody drove me there, so I must have taken the train. No.
Now, did you have to purchase your own ticket? Did they give you a ticket?
Don't know. Just don't remember it all. Is it important?
I appreciate the fact that we're talking about, over
No, you're
50
looking at me
years
as a
later.
suspect now. I don't like this.
Well, as I told you, there's been some discrepancies in, interviews that we're having, and that's why I'm trying to find out what happened on the day and where you were on the day she disappeared.
I already told you.
Well, but
I spent the entire day in Chicago that day.
McCullough's proposed alibi is that his activities around being enlisted into the military would have excluded him from being able to abduct Maria Rodolphin Sycamore at the time that she went missing. One part of his story is that on December 2nd, he travelled from the town of Rockford, where the military induction centre was located, to Chicago for a medical examination, and he had to stay overnight in Chicago for another examination in the morning on December 3rd, after which he did some sightseeing during the day. Note again that Maria was abducted in the early evening of December 3rd, sometime between 6:30 and 7 p.m.
When you got back in the evening, what did you do? This was a big day. I mean, this is a day that...
I probably crashed because it was a hard day.
So you think you were home asleep?
I'm assuming.
So why would people say you weren't there?
What people?
Your sisters?
They don't know.
Well, they say they do.
They don't know where I was back then.
Yeah, they do.
No.
When we start to look at the story that you tell here, okay, we've done a lot of interviews, there's things that just aren't right, okay? First of all, you had the nickname Johnny, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So the person that was introduced themselves to the girls said he was Johnny. Okay. Who knows? Okay. The description of the person matches you down to the gap in the teeth.
Yeah, that's really was surprising.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, but that's what they height, the weight.
See, but that was my neighborhood. Everybody knew me. So if they had seen me on the street, Maria's parents knew me. I used to play with their daughters in the backyard.
See, and that's
This is called I knew my victim, so I couldn't have murdered the person technique. As if, like, most murders don't happen within the proximity of familiars. That's the second self-report, by the way.
The description isn't coming from Maria, though. It's coming
she was
Kathy.
kidnapped.
Right. It's coming from Kathy, the other girl that was there. So she described somebody who looked remarkably like you and had the gap in the teeth, the same color hair.
See, I didn't hear anything about these descriptions. The only thing I heard...
Okay, guys. Yes, I'm going to keep saying technique. Okay? I'm going to keep making technique jokes. I'm sorry. Okay? I don't appreciate that you guys are making fun of me for reusing the same joke. This is literally what Twitch chat does. I am trying to be as close to Twitch chat as possible This is something that you guys should be understanding of more than anything else. You literally still do small head jokes all the time.
Was he had a green jacket?
Well, actually, it was a sweater that was the description.
All right, I don't have a green sweater. I had a jacket.
Well, and it wasn't a green sweater. It was a multicolored sweater.
See, it's not me.
Yeah, well, but your family says that you had a multicolored sweater that was just the same description, and that after Maria disappears, that sweater disappears.
Wow, it can't be him. He had a green jacket just like the murderer. He had the same fucking tooth, like the tooth gap, just like the murderer. And he knew the fucking murdered child, so it simply can't be him.
Oh, this is bullshit.
You also told the FBI that you had some sex play with your sister.
Oh my God! I took a lie detector test.
We're talking about what you said.
Yeah, right.
Did you have sex with your sister?
And they said, and he said, when was this? I said, when we were little.
Okay. Now your sister says that it wasn't just when you were little.
So?
Well, so what I'm pointing out here is that if you say you told them the FBI the truth,
yeah,
and you were little, and yet at the same time you're having sex with your sister.
I am not having sex with my sisters.
The indignation McCullough suddenly displays at the suggestion he had sex with his stepsisters speaks to how warped his conception of the parameters of normal.
Bro, this guy was a literal pioneer, like murderer, rapist, but also this motherfucker is the... first of all, he's perfecting the leaning technique, which we know is very effective in interrogation rooms. Secondly, he was doing stepsister stuff like way back in the day, dude. Like 200 years. 200. What? Why did I say 200? Like almost 100 years before fucking stepsis porn blew up.
Normal behavior seems to be.
In
this
200.
exchange.
Sometimes I exaggerate numbers so much that it just like doesn't fucking... It makes no sense.
It appears as if McCullough is trying to qualify that he only engaged in some sort of limited sex play with his siblings, as opposed to full intercourse, and that it only happened when he was also very young, which given the age gap doesn't actually do much if anything to make the idea any less disturbing. Putting that aside, any remotely well-adjusted person understands that incestuous activity of any kind is extremely noxious and should be expected to express severe offense at the notion they've ever engaged in anything like it.
Holy shit, I didn't realize he was... I thought they were the same age. Oh my god, I shouldn't have made jokes about that. I did not realize. I thought that they were in the same age range.
I'm just telling you what, not just...
He was like full grown.
One, but multiple sisters have said.
Right.
Okay. They also say, well, actually, Dave Frederick says that he saw your car driving in the late afternoon in Sycamore.
So?
A good rule of thumb to keep in mind with Jack McCullough is that whenever he says the word so, it is almost certainly in response to a damning piece of information. The significance of McCullough's car being spotted driving through the neighborhood at a time he claims he couldn't have been there is self-explanatory, and it's highly doubtful he's as oblivious to this as he's letting on.
Your mother also says...
So this is the so technique?
To Janet and Mary, that you killed her, Maria.
This is a lie. This is a lie. My mother loved me to death.
I know she did.
And she was crying when the FBI wanted to talk to me.
I have no doubt, because she also told them some lies to the FBI.
My mother doesn't lie.
Well, she said you were home all night, and the girls sat right there and said, he couldn't be in. We looked, he wasn't home. The doors are all locked. Nobody can get in without us opening the door. And your mother didn't tell the FBI the truth. Now, she may have been protecting you. But
protecting me by saying I murdered a girl?
I think that's what she was thinking that you did here. And I think...
No, this is bullshit. It's all bullshit. My mother wouldn't say that.
Your mother did say that.
She didn't.
The other problem is that you're given a ticket by the military to go downtown. Right?
Sure.
Okay. So it doesn't make any sense not to take the ticket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The problem is that the ticket didn't get used.
This is a key piece of discovery that helped investigators unravel McCullough's alibi. When combing through his past, they interviewed a woman named Jan Edwards, who McCullough was dating at the time of Maria Rodolph's disappearance. They asked Edwards to rifle through any and all mementos she had from the time, just in case something of use materialized. One thing she had in her possession was an old high school photo of John Tessier in a cardboard frame. Concealed within that frame was this train ticket. It is a one-way...
Oh my fucking god, dude. What are the goddamn odds, bro? Like, she fucking framed it, too. It's, like, preserved. That is wild. This is, like, Final Destination type shit, where, like, this dude was supposed to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was literally just supposed to.
Way ticket from Rockford to Chicago. And what caught the attention of investigators is that it was not punched. The reason this is so significant is that if John Tessier did not need a train to travel from Rockford to Chicago, then he must have had access to a different mode of transportation, i.e. his car. And if he had his car on December 3rd, it would make it much more plausible for him to have been able to perform his military-related activities during the day, while still having plenty of time to make it to Sycamore within the window of Maria Rodolph's abduction.
Yeah, I mean, you know how the military is. Here's your ticket to go to Rockford, or to go from Rockford to Chicago. You never used it. You know where this comes from? Jan Edwards. You know how women are sentimental, they keep everything?
Yeah.
She's got pictures of you, and she said, yeah, John gave me this.
That's really funny.
Well, I think it's not funny. I think it's...
Nah, I don't think it's funny, homie. I think you're fucked.
Questions whether or not you were involved in this.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm not involved. You can give me a lie detector test, I'll pass it.
Okay, all right. Why don't we do that right now?
All right.
And that's exactly what they set to doing. Zaleski goes to get a polygraph set up, while McCullough bores Agent Henley with tips about the weird kid from the neighborhood who was purported to like talking about sex.
To the chatter who asked, why do they never ask for a lawyer? So we can enjoy this content later, okay? They're idiots for our sake.
He was weird. And
how do you know that?
This kid told me, and I observed.
Okay. So you don't know that firsthand that he's weird? Like, what's weird?
Okay. Not normal.
Regular viewers of this channel will know that we don't take polygraphs seriously around here. But just because the device is useless insofar as being a lie detector doesn't mean people's behavior when sitting next to it isn't sometimes interesting to observe. And Jack McCullough is a very good example of this.
This is the second polygraph I've taken on this. First one was by the FBI, and I passed it.
When was that?
It was in 1957, I believe.
Bro, I feel like the polygraph shit, like the techniques have probably changed since then, you know what I mean?
Okay. And I'm going to pass this one.
Like there's a significant fucking difference in technology between like 1957 and like, you know, now.
As long as you stay on the subject of the little girl and her murder.
Well, quite frankly, Jack, there's
I know there's some questions you have to ask for verification. I understand that.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you some questions about the details of your personal life.
And some of them, stop answering.
This is a point of contention that will colour the entirety of McCullough's polygraph exam. His stance is that he's happy to submit to a polygraph, but only on the condition that the only questions he's asked are those pertaining to the abduction of Maria Ridolph. So questions pertaining to anything else, like incestuous experimentation in childhood for instance, are out of bounds. The problem with this from a polygrapher's perspective is that this is as good as not being willing to take a test at all, as the test is supposed to work by gauging your reactions to uncomfortable questions that are not related to what you're being investigated for, and comparing those to your reactions to questions that are.
Well, just hear me out, okay?
Right.
Okay, that's a bit wild. It's like, what, they can't find anything that's uncomfortable for him that they can use that doesn't pertain to him, like fucking his, like that's the only thing that's uncomfortable that they can test him on? Like,
really? We're not so much interested in that, but I need to ask you some detailed personal things about your life. Some of it can be pretty sensitive, but I need them in order to structure your question. It really is in your best benefit to answer them.
I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I know you think you're helping when you like spam what happened to this dude, but you're a scumbag. Okay? Stop ruining it, please. Mods, you can ban, you can nuke people that keep trying to fucking link what happened to him. Okay? I mean, I do it sometimes on like super high profile cases, but like, I don't know what the fuck happened to this dude. Stop being a scumbag, okay?
In order for
like, it's not like it's fucking Casey Anthony.
this thing to work.
I understand you have to.
I read it accidentally, and now I'm annoyed.
Make a verifications, and you have to set your machine up. I understand. But you've read me my rights, and my rights are I don't have to say anything if I don't want to.
Right.
And so
But
if
it's
I
not
don't
gonna be-
answer you,
But it's not going to be pertaining to what you're allegedly accused of. I'm going to ask you some questions about your personal history and so on and so forth that might make you, that are a little bit sensitive.
then we're done.
Well, why don't we just go ahead with the interview and see if you don't like them,
All right.
okay?
All right.
And what is this little girl's name?
Maria Ridolph.
Okay.
And she was a lovely little girl. She was a little Mexican girl about this high.
With the last name, like, what did you say?
Ridolph.
Okay.
It was, I think the mother was Mexican, the father was.
Oh, so she was biracial. And
Yeah.
They make the most beautiful kids.
Oh man, she was.
Oh my god.
She was just an adorable.
Why are they having such a weird conversation, bro?
Great big brown eyes, and everybody in the neighborhood loved her.
The polygraph technician, Irene Lau, would later say that whenever McCullough talked about Maria, he exhibited a degree of affection that seemed off, and this was a specific moment she cited. It's not abnormal to remark about a child being adorable, but when McCullough talks about Maria's big brown eyes, the body language he exhibits is reminiscent of someone going into some kind of trance-like state.
So basically,
Oh god,
you're
that's so
telling
terrible.
me that you have absolutely no knowledge of this.
Absolutely.
You have no knowledge about Maria's abduction.
I have no knowledge of her abduction other than what I was told.
You did not stop and talk and play with Maria.
Oh no! She was a child.
Or Kathy.
No.
Well, so what?
No.
And kids play with other kids.
Yeah. I was 17 years old. She was this tall.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was 20.
20? Wow.
Yep.
Who with?
With an older woman down in South Carolina after I joined the Air Force.
Have you ever had sex with a male?
I haven't had sex with a male.
Have you had sexual contact with a male?
We're done with that.
I take that
What the fuck?
Go take anyone you want. We're done.
with that particular question.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
I mean, at that point, you'd be like, I sucked the cock. You know what I mean? Like, it's obvious you did it. So, what's the problem, dude? Internalized homophobia. That's what the problem is. But, like, it's like, dude, imagine fucking being equally as uncomfortable with having a homosexual affair as you are with like literally raping your fucking younger stepsister. That's crazy. Like, goes to show where his fucking mentality is.
I mean, it really sensitive.
What's it got to do with the little girl?
I'm trying to ask questions to help structure your test. It has no bearing on crimes, this, that, or the other thing. I'm trying to help you as best I can.
You're not helping me.
You ever been arrested before?
No.
You've been in trouble with the law before?
I had one problem with the law.
What happened?
Next question.
Oh, come on. You can tell me.
I'm glad you're my friend.
You think I'm going to tell these guys?
Yes.
Why would I do that? There's no bearing on this case.
Very good, then move on.
Come on. I need to be able to structure your
You
test.
don't need to do that.
Wait, why can't they pull that information?
Yes. Next question.
Have you committed any crimes that you haven't been caught for?
No.
Then you shouldn't have any problems with the other question, right?
Yeah. Next question.
So you don't want to answer that question, even though it's the same as the
It
other.
doesn't matter. I have a right to not answer questions. I'm not answering that question. We're trying to solve a murder.
That's right, we are.
Yes, we are.
I'm not asking these questions for love. If you tell me yes or no and tell me truthfully, I won't go any farther than that. Can you answer it truthfully?
Okay, I figured out how he beat the polygraph originally by doing this. He's like refusing to allow them to get a baseline. And polygraphs are bullshit anyway, but still kind of wild that he knew how to do this shit in like 1957, dude.
Yes or no, you've never committed a crime that you haven't been caught before.
Correct.
Yes or no?
Yes or no what? What's the question?
Have you ever committed a crime that you haven't been caught for?
No. If I ever committed a crime, I haven't been caught. I have never committed a crime I haven't been caught.
Yes or no?
I answered your question.
That's how I'm going to ask it. You cannot answer it like that. It's going to be yes or no.
I can't. What is your yes or no answer?
Bro. I hate to admit this, but he's owning this polygraph. Like, he's literally broken her frame, dude. Like, he's guilty as fuck. Not as guilty as this ad break that I'm about to serve you, but because it is top of the hour. At the top of the hour, every hour, we run a 60-second ad break. Some of you notice, some of you don't. And of course, there's a way to no longer see those ads, and that way is by subscribing. You can subscribe for $5 or for free. How much did Twitch pay you for this contract? Well, oh my God, I'm sweating so much. That was a fucking solid segue, baby. Or you can use an ad block. Or a VPN. But here's the 1 minute ad break now.
Yes, what? What does yes mean? Yes means
So you're saying yes, you have committed
No, I said, what does yes mean? I'm asking a question.
Because McCullough makes it clear he will not engage with control questions, in addition to being reticent to providing straight yes or no answers that the polygraph requires, it's quite clear that whatever chart his exam yields will be even more useless than a standard polygraph test, if such a thing is even possible. Regardless, Agent Lau eventually attempts to conduct an exam in earnest.
Is your correct name Jack McCullough?
It is.
I really like this guy's point of view. Matt Orchard, like, you can tell the narrator's point of view is like, this polygraph shit is pseudoscience. Whereas I feel like even with even with like JCS, I feel like he gives it a little bit more credibility. Like he will establish that polygraph tests are inadmissible in court, but still, it's like important to figure out certain things. Now the narrator is not as good as JCS. But I feel like his point of view politically is like interesting.
Yes or no? All in place.
Yes.
Okay. Do you intend to answer all of my questions truthfully?
Well, I intend to answer questions truthfully. Maybe not all.
I need a yes or no.
No.
So you are not going to answer all my questions truthfully?
We